Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me a screen. I will talk about documentation. I'm from Bengal University. Today, my talk will be more in traditional documentation, so by Buttrick pathway. So, uh, we will talk about most natural forms. We and this talk about documentation for sour cabbage because I will explain a bit later more about pickling because mm, as as I add, the organic waste is an source which is des- designed by researchers to be feed to dark fermentation plant. Dark fermentation is digesting this fruit to bring hydrogen or organic acids with organic acid like butyric or acetic. This is because usually by keeping bacteria special condition firstly, so called stressing. So giving usually for some time, not very much, usually 2 hour, two from 15 minutes to 1 hour or two, into special critical conditions like heat, acid condition critical, so below of the 4 pH, sudden shifting or sudden uplifting by basic, by some airing, aeration, so keeping them bacteria because they are anaerobic, so to close the spored form, and and one important trouble of dark fermentation is that we need, because our process undergoes under thermophilic or mesophilic or perhaps psychophilic conditions in low pH, because pH from 5 to 6 is favored by this bacteria as optimum for not uh, not producing methane but only hydrogen. Process is more favorable and longer favorable. Because of that, we need to keep this pH low. The low pH is needed to keep because the organic acids are weak and a higher degrees of pH values than initial acid. The low pH is usually obtained by spinning the reaction mixture by to pH 5 by strong acid like hydrochloride, sulfuric or phosphoric acid, or some natural acid like organic acid like uh, can be by lactic something acid or by 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 carbonic acid, but mostly by sulfuric and chloride because it's more suitable because uh, they don't block and they don't react so easily and breaking because other acid like are buffer due to organic acid, so the acid is coming with the growth of bacteria with to the neutral condition, so to the keeping bacteria in neutral conditions, bacteria ends very more fastly the sporage form that in low pH, so are very unlikely. Therefore, the one idea of keeping this pH is adding some waste which will be acidified naturally or called by pickling. Pickling is the known strategy of preserving food from many times, from over ancient times or even now, because pickling is different kind of fermentation that uses food for food preserving some lactic acid bacteria. This can be usually on cheese, on whey. So many, especially in Turkey, the research is mostly and due to mass milk ways, research that fermentation worked on whey, so very easily acidified acid. Because whey is usually for yogurt or kefir in Turkey is more popular as everywhere, but the production of industry quite strong and finance this research mostly. So the in Turkey is mostly focused on the utilization of whey. In other countries in Poland are mostly on sugar because sugar beets are very quite big trouble and needs to be utilized and quite good. There are also trials to low to other substrate, wheat, but this wheat needs to be acidified to or manure, but this needs to be acidified. So we decided to maybe mix this with such pickling cabbage. So sauerkraut, so sour cabbage called. This is the food which comes from cabbage, which is lactic acidified from the lactic acid bacteria, and it is in Europe, comes from China by Tata with Mongolian raids. So they comes in the 13th century or something, some near about, because Mongolian found that very good food would be this popular in China in some workers or some laborers on which who built in China was popular kimchi. So the cabbage, Chinese cabbage in this case, which is specially pickle, so lactic bacteria, and it can be preserved so long. This is because such a food like cabbage and after pickling could be very far transported and is not and is preventing from some vitamin C or lacks. This is on case of food, but also its pH is only 4 to 4.5, so it's quite good to be material, natural source, natural feed that can low pH of the substrate to keep the reaction low. And that's why we choose sour cabbage. But in fact, sour cabbage brings more hydrogen production than other materials, which we chose because we are choosing wheat straw, potatoes, and both was sour cabbage has higher hydrogen production than by himself. If we mix, the production wasn't higher as a sum of hydrogen production of, for example, wheat and sour cabbage, but only from from us as wheat straw and little bit of sour cabbage. So mixture of two products, which one is weaker and one is better in monosubstrate, doesn't give the sum, but usually the low the lower giving hydrogen, we don't know why, is shifting process to lower firstly its substrate which is lower producing hydrogen, but with higher conversion. In every case, when we add sour cabbage, the conversion of feed initial of waste was higher. So this is the case. This is the important because we don't observe some much more acidification due to more production of acid. However, acid is included in initial time. In fact, at the end wasn't an lactic, only hexanoic acid was, so caproic acid was observed, which is also useful for cosmetic industry. And this is, and another addition, we add some air, because in some little air, after checking, however, this anaerobic, it 2 to 8% is stimulating hydrogen production, because it's made slowly destroying some hydrogen sulfide, preventing some hydrogen sulfide and organic waste production, the digestion, which is parallel process in case of butyric pathway or acetic pathway, so pyruvic acid pathway, because as I mentioned, the food organic way substrate firstly in butyric pathway is transformed into pyruvic acid, and then from this pyruvic acid is formed to the butyric or acetic acid with production of hydrogen. In case of sour cabbage, we have the no shift due to acid addition. This is showing that it is a potential, and maybe, well, it's worth to see in case of utilization. So in this case, if we consider only butyric pathway, so pyruvic acetic acid, well, so this is production, sour cabbage very useful for controlling pH and as a substrate. So thank you very much.